Hello, and thanks for joining us as we take a quick tour of historic southern Arizona over the next few days. We're going to start in Phoenix and head south on I-10 to Marana, which is just north of Tucson. There, we're going to head west on some secondary roads around the west side of Saguaro National Park, and then head south to the small border town of Sasabe. We'll then be going east past Nogales to spend a couple of days exploring the area around Patagonia, and finally we'll head east again to Bisbee, where we'll end our trip. So sit back and let us show you a bit of scenic Arizona and a few historic sites along the way. As we're heading to Patagonia near the Mexican border, we're going to take the long way. Today we'll be visiting Saguaro National Park, Sasabe, Arivaca, and passing by Nogales. The saguaro is the symbol of the American West, and these majestic plants are only found in a small part of the country. The park is split into two sections just east and west of Tucson. Continuing south, we drive through the small community of Picture Rocks, so named for the petroglyphs left by the Hohokams as far back as 850 AD. They're on private property, so you'll need to get permission to visit.
God, it wasn't even like this when we went to other countries.
Past the guy there.
He wasn't a border patrol agent.
There he is. He ain't getting out of his car. Heading south towards the border town of Sasabe, these checkpoints often pop up unannounced. The border town of Sasabe was established in 1905. There is the border crossing, an adobe sales outlet, public school, a guest ranch, a general store with fuel pumps, a weekend bar, and a post office. The population in 2010 was 54. Sasabe is known for the historic Rancho de la Osa Guest Ranch, which was the headquarters of a 3 million acre Spanish land grant until it was turned over to the Guest Ranch in 1921. Some of the ranch buildings date back to the late 17th century. Guests have included Presidents Franklin Roosevelt and Lyndon Johnson.
Oh, there's the Hilltop Bar. They have cocktails.
The town of Arivaca is a great place to go for hiking and animal and bird watching at the nearby Arivaca Cienega and the Buenos Aires National Wildlife Refuge. Before the refuge, the Buenos Aires was a working cattle ranch. Although the history is sketchy, it is thought the town was at one time a Pima or Tohono O'odham village until about 1751. It also served as a mining camp, and a post office was established in 1878. Rather than continue on back to the interstate, we're taking the back roads through the ghost town of Ruby east towards our destination for the night. We're looking forward to some great views of the Atacosa Mountains to our north and the Pajarito Mountains to our south on this less traveled path. Ruby is a ghost town open to the public where over 100 years of Arizona mining history is on display. We didn't stop on this trip, but if you should happen by there, $15 will buy you entrance to the town, a map, access to 2 lakes, and wildlife viewing opportunities. The town is not open every day, so check their website before you go. While they're a common sight on the Arizona back roads, we always enjoy seeing the cows. And yes, I know they're mostly steers. With so many nice camp spots in this area, it was tempting to come prepared to spend the night. But then a reminder that considering some of the border issues, it's probably not a good idea unless you're with a group. So we continue on to our destination for the night in Patagonia. Leaving the dirt and hitting the pavement again, we're coming to the outskirts of Nogales. We're going to be bypassing Nogales on the north side and head towards Patagonia, where we're going to be exploring for the next couple of days. Kind of a funky small town, Patagonia shows a mix of artsy and old Western flair with brightly colored storefronts and opportunities for souvenir and art shopping. Being close to Coronado National Forest and several preserves in the area, there are several opportunities for wildlife viewing, off-road driving, hiking, fishing, and boating at nearby Patagonia Lake. With our hotel in sight, we'll say good evening and hope to see you in the morning. Well, good morning and welcome back. Today we're going to be exploring on the dirt roads south of Patagonia and heading down towards the small town of Lochiel. And we're going to stand on the very spot where the first European in the western United States came to America. How cool is that? As we head south towards the border, we're driving through the Harshaw mining district. Harshaw was first settled in the 1870s as a mining town that didn't last long at all. At one point it had over 200 buildings, but as the area was mined out, by 1881 the town started to die, and monsoon storms and a fire that same year damaged much of the town. Despite all this, with the nearby Hermosa mine reopened in 1887, only to close again in 1903, town continued to see ups and downs. Interestingly, the townspeople never got title to the lands, and in the 1960s, the less than 100 people remaining were relocated by the U.S. Forest Service. By this time, the town had fallen into disrepair, as the town was described as a hodgepodge of collapsed adobe buildings, wrecked cars, and tin-roofed shacks, from which the paint peeled years ago. All that's left is the graveyard and a couple of dwellings. The Hermosa Mine Project is a recent work in progress reopening the old Hermosa Mine. The proposal is for a $1.7 billion operation to mine zinc, silver, and manganese. Of course, there are both supporters and opponents to the project as work on the mine continues. Driving these back dirt roads, you never know what kind of wildlife you're going to see. I tried to zoom in here so you could see some javelina happily getting a drink from the rancher's well. There is a hunting season for them here in Arizona, and they make great barbecue. As we approach the hamlet of Lochiel, this monument marks the point where Fray Marcos in 1542 was the first European to come to America west of the Rockies, where he crossed the border into what would someday become Arizona. Lochiel, like so many other southeastern Arizona towns, is a ranching community. At one time, it also served the mining communities in the area and had several stores, a brewery, saloons, a livery stable, and a boarding house, most of which are gone now. Heading back towards Patagonia for the night, we'll pause here until we resume recording tomorrow morning on our way to Bisbee as we pass through Sierra Vista and the world-famous bird-watching area of Ramsey Canyon. Well, good morning. Today we're going to be going through Sierra Vista on our way to our final destination in Bisbee. On our way, we're going to have a quick drive through Brown Canyon Ranch and Ramsey Canyon. So thanks for following along and seeing the sights with us. Brown Canyon Ranch is a preserve and historic ranch near Sierra Vista, Arizona. Visit here and get a feeling of what life was like in the early 1900s. There is a well-preserved adobe ranch house at the mouth of the canyon. We stopped by mainly for a better view of the prescribed fire and the smoke in the distance. Ramsey Canyon is home to the well-known Ramsey Canyon Preserve. Ecologically unusual for Arizona, a spring-fed creek provides for a relatively cool, wet environment. Wildlife sightings are common, and bird watching and hiking are popular pastimes here. Back on the highway heading towards Bisbee, we'll be passing through the hamlets of Hereford and Palominas. Bisbee, once a mining town and home to the famous Lavender Pit mine, was at one time a major source of high-grade turquoise for jewelry. Tours are still offered for the mine. Bisbee is now a tourist destination and home to a thriving art scene as well as numerous opportunities for outdoor recreation. After several missed turns on some interesting narrow and steep roads, we finally located our hotel. End of the day, tomorrow we will resume our trip and head towards home. Good morning again. Today we're heading home through Bisbee and we'll be taking in some of the local sights, the local culture, and the beauty of the surrounding mountains. Before the Mule Pass Tunnel, built in 1958 north of Bisbee, was completed, the drive to Bisbee was on a white-knuckled, steep, narrow road traveling up and over the 6,000-foot pass. This is Arizona's longest highway tunnel at 1,400 feet. The locals sometimes refer to the tunnel as the Time Tunnel because as one enters from the present-day world on the west, he comes out the east side into an early era of life in Bisbee. I hope you enjoyed our little excursion and a bit of history of southern Arizona. Thanks so much for watching.